Hi everybody, I'm Kevin Ferguson and I've got special guest Ryan Vrede, Mark Keohane, SA Cricket Magazine's show. I want to get straight into it, talk about the state of the Proteas, abysmal, England, and even the under-19s losing to that powerhouse Afghanistan. No one would have picked that. Mark, what do you think? What's going on?
Yeah, it's shambles. It's been a shambles for a while. Got smashed at home by Sri Lanka, 2-0. Went to India, were humiliated. Half the England side was laid low in that first test at Centurion.
Yeah.
They played us on one leg, and four of the guys were kind of in the change room, sick for most of that test.
Yeah.
It was the arrival of the Boucher era. It was one of those kind of like fairy tale starts that they had. Newlands was very definitive for me. We were outplayed from the first hour, and Port Elizabeth was just shocking. And I just on social media as well, and kind of that tells you how people are looking at it. Blaming quotas for it. One black player in the team, and it's one of the best fast bowlers in the world, in 198 test wickets. The guy who gives our attack fire. 7 white players, but there's no critique of those players. Faf du Plessis has been in poor form in all 3 series, averaging 21. For all the things he says, since the World Cup, it looked like he hasn't actually wanted to be there. His future may be in IPL and just playing T20s across the world. Under 19s getting hammered by Afghanistan. People seem to think this trio of Smith, Callis, Boucher, and Jacques Fell is the saviour.
They're certainly not the Navy SEALs Trident, are they?
No, and it's saying, the coaching staff got hammered for losing in India, where we traditionally have lost. Yeah. But now it's give everyone else a chance here.
Well,
but I just
I'm for giving people chances, Omar.
Yeah, but I'm also for being honest about the situation, and also the need to look at transformation in our cricket. And Faf says they don't see colour. I said maybe they should, and they'll see there's not many black players in that team. They have to move forward in this country, and it's about creating opportunities for players. And the criticism I always have is there's never this coming down on a white player to say he's not really cutting it. But the moment any player of colour he's got a technical flaw, he's got to go back. He's got to go back and score runs. He's got to go back and take wickets. I mean, Boucher's talking about Maharaj as a work in progress. He's taken the second most test wickets of a spinner in the history of this game. I just find that...
For South Africa, you mean?
For South Africa, yeah. The philosophy needs to be looked at. The intent for transformation needs to be looked at. Kolpak has hurt us. A very good second tier that's there. But we are in a very poor state. And I tweeted yesterday, and again, no disrespect to Zimbabwe, but I said, I would back Zimbabwe to beat South Africa at the moment in a test match.
It would be a good game. But the alarming thing for me, equally, is that there's no cavalry on the horizon. You don't hear of any up-and-coming great players or potential,
Yeah, I think you even like on that point, you need to take a step back and then look at even at club level what's happening. So some of our viewers may not be aware, but there is no more 2-day cricket in the Western Cape, except in the Premier Division. And even then, there's a big push to eliminate that and play more 1-day cricket and T20 cricket. And there's also this kind of culture of quite young players coming out of high school playing, sort of populating the majority of those rosters in the Premier League and second division ranks. And I learned club cricket from senior hardened guys. And maybe it's just kind of the generation. I don't know what it is, but there's a definite shift in that mentality, like that hard cricket. And even less so with a T20 format and an ODI format where one player can take the game away from you. Whereas in 2-day cricket, you kind of have a chance to rebound. Yeah. And so that might seem irrelevant here, but definitely I'm starting to see that filter through to not only our 3-day cricket, which is just below that pro level, but then you see it with the Cobras and with some other franchises that also have moved away from the 2-day game at club level. Like a little bit more, and there's no question. So you're talking about players that are coming through. I don't see players coming through. Probably 4 years ago, played against.
Well, I do. Ironically enough, they're just not playing for South Africa. Labuschagne, for example, is probably the top batsman in 2019. Was he?
Yeah. Most runs, 11 years old when he went to Australia.
Yeah.
Now he's Labuschagne.
Didn't speak a word of English, apparently.
Yeah, he's Labuschagne.
But a player like Zubair Hamza, for example, played against him 4 years ago. He was playing at Primrose. Phenomenally gifted. And
did he get you out?
No, he got 100 before lunch. there's nothing to cheer about getting me out. And he's progressed through the system, and he really was the last kind of that crop of like supremely gifted young players that went all the way through the system and is playing at Test cricket level now. I mean, there's Keegan Peterson, who's done well for 2 seasons now, and he got into this Test squad, but I don't know how close or far away he is from making his Test debut. But we gotta look at like the entire structure of cricket in South Africa. I mean, obviously, regionally, this is where my interest is. This is kind of what I see. But my understanding, based on speaking to guys from other regions, is that club cricket is struggling everywhere, and that there's no doubt that filters through to the higher levels.
But on that, Ryan, like even in the school system, and Dave Nosworthy tweeted that for the last 3 years there hasn't been a senior school side 2-day competition. It's just T20, and it's all on TV, and every kid wants to play T20, and it's over in 2 hours. And that is shown in terms of technique and kind of application at the crease and that kind of stuff. So there has to be a drastic overhaul of the cricketing system in South Africa. And we have to decide, do we want to be a strong cricketing test nation, or do we want to be a T20 nation or an ODI nation? Because there is such differentials between the 3 games.
And the big concerning, like the big point of concern for me, and we were speaking off camera about this, is that there is no complexity to what I think our batting issues are. Right? You mentioned, you told me a story about Kevin Peterson kind of speaking to Faf about technique in the lead up to one of the days of the last test prior to the game. That for me is laughable. It's laughable that at Test cricket you're speaking about technique. Sure, every player evolves their technique or tweaks it a little bit to match the demands of whatever test, whatever surface they're playing on. But the application at the crease, so evident in day 4 at St. George's Park again. The application at the crease, that is something that you teach a junior cricketer, to be mentally strong and grind through difficult periods in the game, and you know the momentum is going to swing for you. If you absorb pressure for a certain period of play, and you just know the momentum is going to swing for you if you grind through. Those are not things that you should be telling Test cricketers, but yet they're at the heart of what's going wrong in our batting, and that is like really worrying for me.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ryan. I want to ask you guys a question. There's a whole debate around Faf and whether he should be in the team. Is that too controversial to touch? No, it's not.
Yeah, like to me, Faf says that this may be my last home test. I think it should just be his last test. I thought he led poorly at the World Cup. He won 3 out of 9. Everyone said he came back with 100 against Australia at the end.
Well, I think Telford Vice said that.
Yeah, I don't dispute Faf played some great innings against Australia and against New Zealand. 1 to win a test, 1 to save a test. He averages just under 40 in test cricket. His mind is clearly in T20, that global circuit, and I don't blame him. Cash in now. He's averaged 21 in the last 3 test series. He talks about leadership, don't walk away now. It's just his time has come, and I think we need to invest in the future now. And if you are going to, and I don't know the answers as a captain, but you can't keep on excusing mediocrity, and he's been mediocre for a while. And his captaincy has been under serious, has been very questionable in terms of bowling changes, his tactics, his application. And again, I find the following of cricket seems to be so elitist that certain guys are condoned and their actions are excused for a decade, and some just don't belong there. So I think Faf, thanks for the good times, but his time has come.
Yeah, it mustn't be an emotional decision. This is a professional sport at its elite level. And you have to divorce the emotion and look at the plain, cold, hard facts. Because that's the same defense that players use when trying to justify their inclusion in the team. I've averaged 45 over the course of the last 5 tests.
It was the same decision my wife used when she divorced me. Plain, cold, hard facts.
Well, you've got to apply that rationale to Faf right now.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing up deep wounds, but I'm just kidding.
So that's I'm seeing a lot of that now in the South African cricket fraternity. Is like that argument at an emotional level. Yeah. Why do we take into consideration and Faf's contributions historically? It makes no difference. It makes no difference. He's in terrible form now. And
well, terrible form would be an insult to a terrible batsman. He's not.
Yeah.
It's worse than that.
And again, this is the point that Mark was trying to make. It's not a personal attack and Faf, and it doesn't kind of diminish the contributions he's made to South African cricket, which have been immense.
Yes.
But the cold reality of this situation is that he's struggling, and his struggles are chronic, and we need to make a call based on that, and not his historical contribution.
Ah, good point. Agree. Okay. Well, one thing I wanted to talk to people just briefly. Faf was reading a book there at the cricket, and I have no problem with guys reading books. As you say, they read them all the time. But the book was a book by Simon Sinek, a well-known a motivational speaker in the U.S. It's called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. The irony about that is it's a corporate book about Simon Sinek talks about corporations trying to win and lose, and that there's no winning and losing in corporate world. It's about keeping the brand going infinitely. But in a game of cricket, there is a winner and a loser. Sure, there's a draw, but a bit ironic for me. So, for any non-millennials out there that were watching and saw Faf reading a book, that was the book, The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek.
I just want to say it's just wonderful that Faf is still reading. That generation still exists, that people do read.
I saw that too as well. Anyway, well, thank you.
I know he's not reading the scorecards. At least he's reading the long form of writing.
Yeah.
Or the match reports.
Yeah, look, let's hope he comes right in the next game and
And goes out on the flourish. A great 150 at the Wanderers. Captain's innings, heroic. We thank him for the good times, but it's time to move on.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for coming in. I really appreciate it.
pleasure.
Ryan, thanks very much.
Absolute
Marcus,
pleasure.
cheers, mate.